Psalm 127:3. Children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from Him. This suggests children are a precious gift from God to be valued and cared for.
In the United States, a child a minute is taken into DHS, CPS, and so on custody. The reality is their picks are already selected, you just don't know it. Being perfect no longer matters. It's what the adopting families are looking for.
Who is it stealing the children, you ask?
From caseworker to the White House, the buck stops at all levels, just not where it is supposed to be. The services your family needs. We, the people, have paid for to ensure your reunification. Title IV says, reunify at all costs. United, we stand means nothing to us when it comes to family values. Children are being ripped away from their families. Parents are reverting to addictive behavior to cover the pain. The trauma caused by child removal is just being recognized, and the results are atrocious. Termination of parental rights is not healthy for anyone, just profitable for the people enforcing the line.
It's time Washington listens to the cries of our children, the wails of their mothers, and the rage growing in the fathers. These are our children. Keep your damn hands off them. We are coming to act on the behalf of the children God gave us to protect and use.
In the United States, CPS makes upwards of $3 billion per day on trafficking and selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, passing the governor through the Senate and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
We need to stop CPS and abolish CPS.com is leading the way. Join us.
All right, everybody, welcome to this edition of, I'm actually filling in tonight for Gunner's CPS Gunning for Justice. I mean, CPS Gunning. Gunner gunning for CPS. I'm in for him tonight. He's out and ill, so we apologize for him tonight and hope that he's all right, especially with his heart and everything. But I'm sitting in for him. I hope no one minds. But I've got a great guest on here. This is someone that's actually listening and has been through the system himself. And now he's working in the hallways of Washington or Oklahoma, I guess, if you will. This is a great privilege to have, but it's Senator Gabe Woolley is with me, and we'll get him out here, and he's going to explain his bill that House Bill 1100 that they're trying to pass here in Oklahoma, because this thing is rocking, man. Like, this thing is every state needs to follow suit with what you're doing, my man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me. This is, an issue that we've seen here in Oklahoma for a while, but really it's a nationwide issue. So yeah, I did file Oklahoma House Bill 1100 in the Oklahoma House of Representatives. And so that's DHS accountability bill. It kind of circulated through the media here in Oklahoma pretty quickly. We're trying to get it pushed out more nationally and have some pressure put on elected officials to act, to pass this bill or a variation of it, to hold accountability. So whatever you guys would like to know about it, just let me know.
What kind of push are you getting off of this? Like, how does it feel when you go in out there and when you started this bill, like, was your constituents all like, well, come on, man, we're not going to do this? Like, what's the feel on the Senate floors and such with this stuff?
No, the people of Oklahoma, when it was in the media and social media and stuff, the feedback I'm getting from Oklahomans constituents is positive. They think there needs to be accountability from Child Protective Services. There was an interview with News Channel 6 here in Oklahoma that had sought out a fellow state representative that was in opposition of this bill. Arguably, there was a conflict of interest with that, though. I mean, this representative is a former sheriff. He's friends with the sheriff that tried to prosecute my parents for false accusations of murder and abuse. And that sheriff is friends with the news anchor on News Channel 6. So it's sort of that triangle of
Right.
people trying to work against us through the media.
Because this has a good tie. This ties to you especially, right? Like, this is something that you have firsthand knowledge of how this system works and how this can ruin your family, correct? Like, isn't this from what I've read your story?
Yeah, my parents, Bill and Lisa Woolley, had legal guardianship of their two grandsons, Clayton and Elijah, because my sister was in drug rehab, and she was doing well in her program, but they had legal guardianship until she was able to take custody of the boys back herself. And while they were in custody of my parents, Elijah died at 14 months old in the middle of the night, likely from SID, sudden infant death syndrome. My sister abused drugs while she was pregnant with him, but they were falsely accused of murder and child abuse and put in jail for 8 months for crimes they didn't commit.
Oh my God.
And so then all charges were dropped against them in 2021. They tried to charge them in 27 different ways. None of the charges would stick or work. There was no evidence of any crime. But Child Protective Services took Clayton away at 5 years old, and even after charges were dropped or dismissed, has never returned him. In March, it will be 7 years. There's more information. There's a podcast. There's a documentary at rescueclayton.com.
Rescueclayton.com.
So people to go to rescueclayton.com. Documentary is called Saving Clayton, and that's on YouTube. It's free to watch. The Rescue Clayton podcast is on YouTube. We would start with episode 1 with Lisa Woolley. Talks about her time in jail, being falsely accused of crimes they didn't commit, things like that. So rescueclayton.com, again, has more information on that. But that certainly motivated me to run for office. I'm also a former elementary school teacher. I worked in education for 9 years. That was another motivation for office, needing some education reform. And so it's my first year in the Oklahoma House of Representatives, state level government.
Hey, congratulations, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It's hard for a young guy. I'm going to assume that you're a young guy, you're a younger guy, but it's got to be hard to get up into, especially a place like Oklahoma. It's like, they're built in, it's solid. So it's got to be hard to break into the system up there and, get elected in and find a spot, to get in there. It's got to be,
we had a slim margin. I won by only a few about 28 votes. But it was and then until I went on to face the Democrat. We're a more Republican state, so the rates are usually tighter when it's Republican versus Republican. But then once you're the Republican candidate, you usually beat the Democrats pretty easily out in conservative areas like I'm in. But yeah. So
but then you come in and you just crash down this bill, like, all right, so let's get these guys in jail.
Something like that. Well,
go big or go home, right? Like, if you're gonna do this, you can do it right.
I did file 8 bills. House reps in Oklahoma are limited; they can only run 8 bills a year. Senators on the other side are not; they can run as many bills as they want. So I filed Oklahoma House Bill 1100, and what Oklahoma House Bill 1100 does is it changes the legal term of the preponderance of evidence. It changes it to clear and convincing evidence. So preponderance of evidence just means there needs to be a 51% chance or likelihood that something may or may not happen to a child, have happened to a child. This doesn't require any proof that the child was abused or neglected. So DHS or Child Protective Services could take your children away when there's not even actually any evidence of any crime or abuse happening. So I filed Oklahoma House Bill 1100, and it changes the legal language that the judge would have to operate off of. It changes the word preponderance, and it takes that out, and it changes it to clear and convincing evidence, which means they actually have to have evidence that something happened. They can't just have a hunch or a feeling or an idea and choose to keep your children away because of that. They actually have to have facts, evidence, proof. And so that's the biggest part of the bill. That's the most important part it does, is it changes the legal terminology.
I was looking over the bill, and it says, it talks about your guys' thing. It must be how Oklahoma works out there, but it talks about you have the first hearing, which for us it would be called a 72-hour hearing. So your bill calls for your guys' first hearing. It's like 2 days or something, I believe, right? You have 48 hours or something to contact someone.
I did put guidelines in there because when you remove someone's child from their home and there's not necessarily, first off, you haven't faced a jury and a judge hasn't made a decision, so there's no proof that anything happened yet. Time is, of the essence, because the longer the child is away from their home, the more traumatic it will be. And if they're not supposed to be removed from the home, then we want to make sure that window of time they're away is as short as possible. So I did put time frames in the bill that 48 hours to, I'd have to read it again to have a hearing, and the judge has to have a review hearing every 6 months. As long as the guardianship isn't terminated, as long as there's still some evidence or possibility that there may or may not have been abuse, the judge has to review it every 6 months and prove that the child should continue to be kept away. They actually have to have proof, not just hearsay.
Right. So would you, for this first hearing, would the parents be allowed, would you still go this through would the parents be allowed to defend themselves at this hearing? Or what's your idea?
The purpose of it is that the judge would have to, I have another bill coming out that it is a little more, even more specific on that. But there's the purpose of the hearings is that both sides, DHS and the defendant, the parents, are supposed to have equal time with the judge and the right to defend yourself. And so those 6 month hearings is supposed to be both parties present, not DHS giving their recommendation and then the story, which is what happens very often. A lot of times the judge will talk with DHS and DHS gets the last word, or the judge will talk with DHS in their private quarters and there's no one there to defend themselves. So that's the problem. Then at the end of the bill, not the main purpose of the bill, but the media kind of ran with it because it was more controversial. If Child Protective Services, if the judge orders the release of the child and DHS refuses to cooperate, they can be charged with a kidnapping felony. And so that's happened before. It's not very likely to happen if a judge orders it, but it has happened. It's not impossible. But again, the main purpose of the bill is changing the word of preponderance to clear.
Right. And that's huge. That's huge because that's I think that I heard someone say that you may have been involved in something, but I'm not sure if that's even true. That's preponderance amount of evidence. It's just the fact that you've been mentioned. There's a chance that there possibly has something to do with it. There's no solidarity. There's nothing solid to that. There's no meat and potatoes. I was one of those people that went through this myself, man. My convictions, all my charges were completely dismissed, and I was terminated my rights for my daughter. My daughter's gone. She's been gone for 3 years now, and I'm still fighting this stuff, because once you terminate, it's harder to get, further and further down that, and I won't stop ever fighting. But all my charges were dropped too. So I agree with what you're saying. I mean, it's huge, especially in the cases of when they first take that child, because like you said, the trauma is so huge. I can't believe that they're still even allowing this they're taking the child out of the home when this starts to be the way that it is. Because you're found guilty immediately, and they just remove their child because of some caseworker that just graduated college, is trying to make a name for herself or something. Who knows what the deal is? But to be able to go to a court and have to present actual evidence, and for a judge to hear that is kind of a big deal. And then to take preponderance out of it is even a bigger deal. because
Right.
now they have to have something to stand on, at least something that says fact wise something has happened to the child. So that stuff's all huge. But
Yeah.
how is that going to work with the ties of how DHS works now with the Title IV funding? Will they run hand in hand, like those dates still, like the 6 months reviews? You want it to be separate from the Title IV stuff, I'm assuming, right? You're like, no, we're not doing this still with Title IV. We're going to go on our own route. It's going to be 6 months regardless that we get a review for these families. And are those reviews, are those going to be like another trial like thing for you? Or is that
Well,
just like
the language says that they're required to have a 6-month review. So if the judge is not having a 6-month review, the judge is breaking the law and then could be charged or jeopardize the judge's position. It doesn't say should or might have a review. The law
right,
would say the judge shall or must have a 6-month
right,
review. So, and DHS as well.
right.
Um,
I noticed you did a bunch of definitions in your, you broke down a bunch of words, which is really cool. One I didn't see in there, and I wanted to know, because it's obviously a huge undertaking. I've written some bills myself that I've tried to push through, and I'm not in any position to have that done, so I try to send them out, whatever. But you put a whole list of words in there, but I didn't see imminent danger. What is your feelings on that, on imminent danger? Because that's one of the big ones that we talk about on the show a lot, is imminent danger. What does it truly mean? Like, to me, it's a siren, the bombs are blowing up, stuff's going down. And that's what they use. Their language is imminent danger is why they come and take your kid. So how is it that you feel imminent danger should be poised on these things?
well, the term, changing the legal term of preponderance to clear and convincing evidence that would have a higher burden of proof for what imminent danger is. You'd have to
Right.
have the proof of that imminent danger, not just
Mhm.
hearsay. But these bills, how it works in Oklahoma, I mean, you basically tell the lawyers that work for the House of Representatives that find the legal language and write the legal language of your bill. You tell them what you want your bill to say, and then they have to type it out to match the Oklahoma and United States Constitution. So I didn't write those definitions. That came from,
Right.
here's what Representative Woolley wants the bill to say, and then here are the legal terms already in place. And so those definitions are already in law in Oklahoma.
All right, I see. So you
Change
just
the definition of something, I'd have to write a new bill to do that, just that.
Oh, Jesus, right. Because it's not just easy as here you go, here's a paper and let's put this in. It's how long, one of the guys here, Herbert, wanted to know, how long does it take for your bill to go through? Like how long, if their bill turns to law, how long could this possibly take?
Session starts on February 3rd, and we are putting bills through committee, debating them on the floor, going to the governor's desk over a period of 4 months. So if the bill were to pass, I'm a freshman lawmaker, so my understanding is we'll know around the end of May. It's either going to die before then, not make it out of committee, not get enough votes on the floor. But by May is the end of session, so we'll know all the bills that are going to pass by May 2025.
What can be done to help raise support for this for you?
Well, if you live in Oklahoma, you should call your state representative starting next month and tell them to vote yes for Oklahoma House Bill 1100 because they're supposed to be listening to their constituents who they represent.
Right.
I would ask people to find me on social media and to share these posts, because what we're trying to do is get the word out about this bill and about us, at least whether it passes or not, at least having the fight and using this platform in the House of Representatives to help anyone else nationwide, because your local state representatives or senators could take this bill and write a version of it for your state. So we're hoping that every single person, no matter where you live in the United States, is finding me on social media and sharing about the bill and content and contacting their local media stations and news stations and asking them to interview us about the bill. Because we want this to ripple throughout the nation to where other states can say, hey, our people, our constituents in Nebraska and Alaska and California are telling us about the variation of Oklahoma House Bill 1100 for our state. And I'm getting phone calls and emails about this. And so that's what people would need to use their voice. So if you live in Oklahoma, call your state representative and tell them to vote for Oklahoma House Bill 1100 if you've read the bill and if you've decided to agree with it. If you don't live in Oklahoma, I would go to social media and find me Gabe Woolley, GabeWooley, and find the posts about the bill and share it. Put some of your own context into the post on Facebook, on X, on Twitter, on Instagram, as to why people should support or read or consider this bill in your state. And contact your local media, contact any podcast host that you have. We'd love to interview with them and help spread the word throughout the whole nation. When the people start to use their voice to speak up about things is when we eventually start to see impact and changes happen, no matter where you are in the nation.
Right. Hey, on February 14th, Valentine's Day, of course, we're doing an all-around show with all the shows that we have on here, because we have a bunch of shows that go throughout the day and everything. But we're doing a call out to Donald Trump. So we're having people record a message that they're going to send, and we're going to send them the whole thing. If you're interested that day, man, you want to pop a message, go ahead and get in touch with me, and we can do that. And you can add your, because I think this is something that needs to go bigger than Oklahoma. This needs to go, as Howard Dean would be, we need Oklahoma, we need New Hampshire, as Howard Dean freak out. And we do need to have that. We need to have someone like you that's coming, and you got, the balls to actually just step right in and say, all right, DHS, let's go. Let's change this, because the way you're going to go about taking kids is about ready to change. And even though it seems like a minute step to some are like, what does that mean? That's a huge step, changing that word. That word is giant, because that means that they actually have to have something now when they go into their court to say that they're going to keep your kids. And that's definitely a huge thing.
Yeah.
So,
and to the point you made earlier about having everything taken away and having a right to defend yourself, I would also look up Oklahoma House Bill 1164. I filed that one. That one's basically, it's called Protect Families from Government Overreach Act. So,
that's excellent too. I mean, we can definitely bring that one up.
It's basically the reverse button. If charges are dropped, dismissed, or someone is found not guilty, everything has to be undone. They return your children, your property, they expunge your record.
I love it. I love it.
And if charges are dropped or dismissed, which would only happen if there's no evidence of any crime. So
that's excellent. Well, I know that you're busy. I know that you have things you had to do this tonight. I appreciate you coming out for this amount of time, and now you're choking to death. So I hope I'm not giving you COVID or anything.
No, you're good.
But I don't know. We'll check in with you here in another couple of weeks. And like I said, Valentine's Day, man, if you want to get on here with us and yell a message out, to get your message out for that. And we'll do some things on this side to get some recognition on your bill. We have some connections as well that we could definitely assist you with in your hunt, man, because this is some real stuff. And definitely check out Oklahoma Bill 164, you said?
Yeah, Oklahoma House Bill 1164.
1164.
And any podcast, any local news stations in your state, it doesn't matter if you're like, well, we live in Nebraska and you live in Oklahoma, this is Nebraska news, we don't care, we'll interview with them if you're want to put pressure on your state legislators to do a similar bill. And so any local media, any national media, any podcasts, we'll push the word out about Oklahoma House Bill 1100, the DHS kidnapping bill, some have called it, and then Oklahoma House Bill 1164, protecting children from families from government overreach legislation. Sweet. And I'll put my name and social media handles in the comments and stuff if people want to be able to find more information.
Yeah, I'm working on getting your stuff up on the screen right now, so I'll put that out throughout the show too. That'll be on there for you. So
sure, I'll text my X Twitter handle. And
okay, yeah, definitely. If you can do that, that would be huge. And I can get all this stuff out for you. This is exciting, man. I'm glad just thank you very much for just having the balls to go ahead first into these guys, man. Like, I've been, Chris Naylor said he's passing your bill, Gabe Woolley, to our representatives here in Florida. So he's also said that.
And just keep in mind, whenever you have a conversation with your state representatives or senators, if there's one piece or one part that they think the bill isn't possible or they don't like it, you can amend bills. They don't have to copy and paste it. Make a variation of it that works for your state. So I would press them and encourage them a little bit to do this, not just take no for an answer. Say, well, is there any variation of this bill or similarities that we can do, even if you don't like part of it? There's a thing called amendments. You can amend and change things. So, have an open mindset, be teachable about it, but definitely press for there to be accountability for Child Protective Services. This is not an abolish CPS bill. This is a pro-accountability, hold the government accountable, call it like it is. The government is not above the law type bill. That's what this is. And just know that when you write legislation, no matter where you are in the U.S. Congress or in the state, best practice is to write bills that chip away at certain different things. Try to write a bill that's going to try to solve every problem, it won't make it past committee because it would try to do too much at once. So this bill is just part of the process. Oklahoma House Bill 1164 is another part of the process. We'll file more bills next year to hold the government, DHS accountable to the people, make sure it's not harming children and only protecting them.
Yeah, and we're launching our website this week too, so we'll make sure that we get your bills up on that. Well, they could be in the media section. We'll have the bills up there for people to have and grab. So that's really cool. We're gonna rock you, man. We're gonna do what we can to help you get this bill through. So
I appreciate it. I sent you my Twitter X handle if people want to follow me on there and keep up with it.
Excellent.
Also on Facebook and Instagram, Gabe Woolley, GabeWoolley. Best way to keep information, send it, share it out. Contact your local media stations, local podcasts. We'll interview with anyone to get the word further out about it and put more pressure on the government to be held accountable and do the right thing to protect children.
Right on. Well, like I said, we have plenty more shows on this channel here, man. And if you're more than welcome to anytime you want to come out and be on, you're more than welcome to, man. So you know how to get in touch. So
absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. I will talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right. That was great, man. That was really good. That bill is something. That bill is really something. I know that Tiff and I talked about it earlier, and I didn't get to the questions that Tiff wanted to get to, but I know I was on a limited time with him tonight. So, but this guy, you know what? He's a freshman senator going in there and just hitting it hard, and hitting it right in the heart. And that's pretty huge. In terms of the DV, the way that things are heading. Yeah, you ain't kidding there. Sea Turtle, welcome. That was a good interview to catch for your first time. It's really something that this guy is coming in and doing this and putting this. I'm going to get his information up for you guys right now so that you guys can go ahead and find him and be part of what he's doing. And just like the Nailer already said, man, he's already thinking about passing it on to his place in Florida. So follow suit with Nailer, man. Pass that thing around. Get it out there. Get it in your own states, because he's absolutely right. Just being able to change that word from preponderance to clear and convincing is a ginormous feat. Because now they can't just come and grab your kid. They can't just come and take your kid on a preponderance amount of evidence, which is just, Bobby Sue may have known somebody to know this person that they said this about this person about Doug. And, that's what they'll be doing. That's preponderance amount of evidence. Clear and convincing is more like, I know that you did this to your child, and I got proof that you did it, and this is what we need to do about it. And that's the difference between the two. In reality, those two differences. It's a huge difference, and people need to just realize that, as minute as this seems, anybody that's been in this system already and has been through these court hearings, they know how big this is, what these words being changed. The difference is your kid coming home with you that day or not, really, in all reality. Do you or do you not have evidence against me? You don't have any evidence against me. You know you don't have any evidence against me, but because we can use a preponderance amount of evidence in this case, you're going to get my kid anyway, because it doesn't need to be anything more than something you heard about. So this is the difference, people, and you need to realize how big this move is. I know it doesn't seem like one, but man, it is. It's huge. And thank you for doing that. And Gabe, we have a lot of people that are saying thank you too here on the chat for coming in tonight. That was awesome. I think we're going to see a lot more of him. I hope to see a lot more of him. I like the guy, and I would like, let's take a look at his 1164 bill. Let's take a look at that while we're here, and we got time. What are you guys up to tonight? Anybody? I know I'm in for gunning for CPS. He's out with the flu with his whole family going down. I think he's really just having a good old time with his family, but don't mind me on that. We'll go with what he said. I know if I had the opportunity to be with my family, I'd be doing the same damn thing as him. But let's take a look at 1164 here. Let's see. HB 1164, Oklahoma. Boom. Let's see. All right. Oklahoma House Bill 1164 is pre-filed bill for the 2025 regular session of the Oklahoma State Legislature. You can find the bill, text, drafts, amendments, and other supplemental documents for HB 1164 on the LegaScan website. All right. Let's go to the LegaScan website. Or let's do this here. I never heard of this LegaScan. Oh, okay, here we are. So they haven't even gotten the first reading yet. Let me share the screen with you guys. Let's see here. Dotty, we going to party. Hopefully everybody was safe and keeping their kids away from CPS this weekend. I hope that we don't have any followers that are like, oh man, I didn't do what we were supposed to. So hopefully, Sea Turtle, thank you so much again for being to show up. Look, all week long we have shows on the channel now. It will have I got the schedule up there. Well, I'll have it up there by the end of tonight. I have it all made up, drawn up, so you guys can know what shows are on when. Sorry for that. It's just since Gary passed away, there's a lot of things that have been, it takes me twice the amount of time because she really did a lot for us. And she was really a huge part of this team in building this and everything. And her sudden passing left a lot of voids that we didn't even know. I especially didn't know were there, and what I missed. So I'm sorry if I missed any sort of interactions with anybody. I wasn't aware of. All I knew is what I called every day. She called me every morning. She said, "Darren, we got this. Actually, she go, "Hey boss." She goes, "Hey boss, we got this," and she chewed me out for something I did the night before or whatever. And however I did it wrong, or she didn't hold back at all. She definitely tell me what was up. And I get that morning call, and I would adjust things, and we go back at it. But she's passed away suddenly, and so we haven't had that. So it's been it's a little rough going, guys, getting back into this. But let's go here. Bill, let's see here. House Bill 1164 from the Oklahoma State Legislature. Let's see. We got its first reading. Let's see if it. Child Protect Families from Government Outreach Act, Purpose, Department of Human Services, Custody Records, Exception, Emergency Motion, Imminent Threat. There we go. There it is. Boop. Imminent Threat. Report Oklahoma Commission for Human Services, Non-Compliance, Civil Remedies, Criminal Penalties, Agencies. Let's see here. Oh, hello, Danielle.
Hey.
How's the water?
It's going good. I've been running a fever bad. It's horrible.
Oh, you got this. You didn't give it to the senator.
Yeah. I hope not. Like it's bad. Like it's like muscle aches and everything. It's bad. So what's been going on?
Nothing. We just Gunner is sick as well, so he asked me to fill in for his show this week.
Okay.
So I fall in for that, and then the senator from Oklahoma was just on with me. He's his bill, the House Bill 1100 that he's pushing, the one to get rid of preponderance amount of evidence to make it convincing evidence. That bill he just went after that, so he explained that to us. Yeah, he's going to be on he wants, anybody, he said anybody that wants to interview him, he's down. So I told him.
Oh, really?
He's get on there. Get on it.
Wow, yeah. So, and what's his name again?
His name is Gabe Woolley.
Gabe Woolley. I'm going to write that down, definitely. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, he was very good. He was a nice interview. He's a freshman senator for the state there. He's a good dude. And I mean, this guy just went right for it, right? He just goes right in and gets the gusto. Ooh, here you go.
That's awesome.
Services. I'm coming for you. So
that's awesome.
Wild. He just climbed right in the boat and just did it.
That's awesome. That's a good sign. That's good.
That's like a reincarnated Nancy Schaefer almost. It took 50
that's great.
Right. So that's cool.
Good. So he's making. Is he gonna help out nationwide? Is he gonna help out with other? Or can he? Or I guess he can voice for other states. Or
yeah, I mean he can be. He can do. He also has House Bill 1164. That's what we were just looking up here, and this one's
Okay.
about protecting families from government outreach or their overreach.
Oh,
So yeah, and this
oh,
one
that's
includes the
great.
I was just looking for the bill itself, but I'm on this site and
Oh,
I
wow.
can't find where you would see like what the bill would. But that goes up
And
for. Go ahead.
it's House Bill what again? House Bill what? I'm
So
trying
he's
to
got
get
House Bill 1100, and he also has 1164 in there.
1164 and 1100. Let me write that down.
Yeah.
That's
His
awesome.
name is Woolley, Woolley.
Wolley. Okay. And it's Oklahoma senator, but he's a U.S. senator. He's not
He's
just
a state senator. He's for the state.
state
So
senator.
he's,
Okay.
yeah, he's a state senator.
Yeah.
So whatever,
And
like that's good. It's freaking awesome.
hey, I mean, anything to get like he can even put like talk to other senators and like our states and
Right.
stuff and be like,
Well,
hey.
I asked him how it was reciprocated. You know, when she goes in there on the floor, and he said it's pretty open. You know, like people are very excited about it. So,
wonder why it was so. Wonder why it was so difficult and why you couldn't like they didn't get to speak out much before when the old like when Biden's administration and all of them were in. Like, were they that like controlled of them? Like they're
that scared. You know, like they're that nervous that they weren't. You know, they'd be banned or I don't know. But it just seems like there's a lot of them are coming out and stomping foot first. I don't know where my notepad is, but I had the other guy out there earlier that we were looking at the Chip and Punisher show. We had his bill out there too. It was like 11:30.
Oh wow!
I believe I forget his name, Bill Schmidt or something.
Good, because I know in Oklahoma they were saying something about getting rid of not getting rid of them, getting them in trouble for kidnapping. I don't know if that bill or if they passed, if they were going to do that, charging the DFC, the CPS workers with kidnapping or something.
That's the guy that we were just talking to. So that's him. So on his bill, preponderance amount of evidence to clear and convincing evidence. If they keep your kid after they find that you did under preponderance amount of evidence that they didn't, there's no reason to keep your child, then they arrest you. They arrest that caseworker for a felony.
Oh, that would be great. Like that.
Yeah,
I mean, that would.
You don't have any
That's.
Give it back.
Oh my gosh, and that also has to do with like what we spoke about the other day, how that investigation like John Ossoff did, and the fact of they're not looking into this removal thing. Why are these kids being removed? Why are so many? I mean, and that right there would open that door a lot, like, and get that. That'll open. Yeah. So I mean, because they have so many days they have to investigate any allegation, but still, I think it's like 45. And then they have to close it. But I mean, if they remove the kid during that, and then they find that heck yeah, they should get in trouble for kidnapping because that's messed up. But they're not. That's where they. I'm glad that what I just said. That's pretty cool that he's addressing that now because at least he's bringing attention and making them aware he ain't playing. And maybe that'll rub off on other states. And, because Georgia, they are stubbornish out here. I have no idea what the hell. Like, it's absolutely crazy. The stuff that I hear Maine in the news. I hear Idaho. I hear California, Texas, but never Georgia. Never.
Well, I mean, that's some goodness to that, and then some badness, I guess.
Well, being involved, like being experiencing it myself, what I'm going through right here in the state of Georgia, it's not. I don't think it's with all the other states being called out. Why can't Georgia be called out? Why?
Well, get it going.
Yeah,
maybe that's your job. Your calling is to get this stuff. Let me get this out of your face.
I did on the show the other day. My show the other day, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I did that, and I was like, "All right, Georgia, what's up?" Like, because I know these parents. There's a lot of them that would love to speak out. They just don't have they don't have the courage to, and they don't feel like they're strong enough. If only they knew how powerful they were. I mean, we're helping. I mean, we're getting there. We're getting there. It's just baby steps, because we're all learning. We're at that point one time, and it just sucks that it's years go by, and you're still going. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's time. Yeah, time you can't ever get back. You can't ever get time back. And I'm talking, I mean, like, there's people that have been going through this 20, 30, some of them 20, like, in some cases, I know Tammy said the other day, 34 years. My God, like, you can't get all that time back for these family members or even ourselves. Like, so my son's supposed to be graduating this year, and they still, and it's slow knowing that they've done, and now when I send out a letter demanding and putting a foot down, they want to sit there and be like, now they want to start moving. Like, why couldn't it happen a year ago? Like, if y'all should have never had them to begin with. Like, I don't. And that's the big thing. They keep taking these kids and automatically throwing them into foster care without even doing an investigation.
Yeah.
Like,
and then the parents have nothing on them. They have nothing on the parents. They have no information, and they're just automatically, because they get that first hearing. Once they get that first 72-hour hearing, that's why I was asking him how he feels like those scenarios need to go, because I know that they're situated as for the way Title IV funding is supposed to be issued out. So, like, once the judge comes in, he hears the case, you get substantiated. That starts the clock for Title IV funding. That's the first piece that they need to get those checks rolling in. That's what
do we have a chat? Sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't know chat. I didn't know if we had. No, I didn't know the chat. If anybody was in the chat, but so he, and then Trump is like, I don't know if you've heard, like, he's pretty much. I mean, the thing I'm getting on it, and it's pissing these liberals off, or the other side. And have you heard about cute winter boots? The code word that they're saying out there, and they're. It's on TikTok. It's like they're trying to, they're making threats. That's pretty much just like a threat to what was it about? I think it was like when it was something that it was an executive order Trump had signed about the deportation or whatever. But I mean, still, like, that's no reason to be threatening anyone. Like, I mean, and that's. Like, okay, so cute winter boots. It's words that they're using. I wonder if I still get that video that this girl on TikTok. She's like, "We have a right to overthrow the government. We have a right to," and it's something that Trump was putting into effect. I think it has to do with ICE and deportation. And now they're coming back threatening the people that are like the border patrol and stuff, like threatening these people. Like, saying they're gonna end up setting up shop and like jumping them and like putting their lives at risk when all they're doing is doing their job. Yeah, and it's crazy. Yeah, and it's all over. I mean, it's all over. It's probably I don't know if it's on YouTube, but I know it's all over TikTok. My goodness. And but what got me was the amazement of the people that have stood up for the United. Like, oh wait, we the people? They talk about we the people? Like, there are so many stepping up. It was like, wow. So Trump's made he's making moves and he's making it happen, and they're not happy, and they are not happy. But did you hear? I don't know how credible it is, but I did. With me being sick and stuff, they found a truck full of children bodies.
I just saw that. I just was reading that.
Oh, so you've seen it too? Okay. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
There was. I mean, where is that? The migrant children that were that all the missing kids? What? Like, what?
The truck full is an awful lot, though.
The semi truck full. That's even bigger than a shipping. Like, that's bigger than a shipping container. And it was. They said they were stacked up on top of each other, and they were going through what was it, the border patrol stop or whatnot. Could you imagine how many kids did they say it was?
I don't know. That's awful. That's probably the one that they got. Probably the one that has all the bodies. There's probably 20 more that are following up behind it that they didn't get.
So and it's now that and then it's crazy. I mean, who are them kids? Where they come? Where are they from? They have families. There's families out. Those, it's not like those kids are just. No, those kids have family that probably more like out here fighting and looking for them. And now to know that there's all them kids that, I mean, I think it was full of dead babies. But still, that's a nightmare I mean, I would never want to wish that upon anyone. And I know the woman that found them was, bless her heart. And yeah, it's a war. That's not something that anybody. I mean, a parent shouldn't have to bury their child. You know.
No, it shouldn't.
Yeah.
Where I'm trying to look it up here with a truck full of babies.
Yeah. And then there was something else. What else was it? And then the JFK and Martin Luther King Jr. and they released they declassified the record to where they can view them now. The ones that were classified all these years. After 60 years, John F. K's records, like about his death and everything, has been exposed out. They released it.
103.
It shows 103 kids.
103.
Oh no! And were they bringing them in across the border or the other way? Like they weren't. I just like saw it. I was half asleep when I seen it, and it didn't ring a bell, and until like later on, I was like, wait a minute, did I really just see that? And I went back to find it, and I didn't know if it was credible or what. Like, but you know how you always like to make sure it's before we say anything online, you know, because you know how social media is.
That's 2018. Yeah. Coca-Cola truck full of kids. Child terminated this week in the clip posted on social media. Wow, what the hell? There's a lot. If you search for truck full of babies and kids, there's a lot that comes up.
There's one that comes up with a U-Haul in Atlanta somewhere, but I think that got debunked. That was a false. They weren't actually carrying kids, and I know that was a big one that went around here for a minute. But there's a lot of ones on there.
There's Coca-Cola truck full of kids video from Chicago sparks trafficking claims.
Oh no.
In the clip posted on social media, a man who appears to be a construction worker claims that he can see a Coca-Cola truck filled with children. A couple of police vehicles can be seen parked around the truck.
So they were protected. Were they like escorting them? Like just keeping them? That is crazy.
Hey, look at that kids.
Oh, there we go.
This shit, bro, they just found a truck full of kids in that motherfucking Coca-Cola motherfucking truck. We all, hey, they got you now. This shit crazy. I'm telling a million kids in that motherfucker.
Wow.
I went out thought they just traveled.
Wow.
This shit is crazy.
Wow. So that's crazy, huh?
That's horrible. That's what we don't. That's the things we don't want to hear, and that's the thing that I don't understand how people can even have a heart to do that to a child. Anything like that to a child. Don't. They're not to be for sale. For one thing, no amount should ever be over a child's head. No cash amount at all should ever. And on top of that, a kid should not have to even stress. They should be able to live their life as a child and be happy and be doing what children do, like laughing, smiling, and enjoying themselves. That's the way I was raised. You know, like we should, you know, and that, you know, when I had children, they were my responsibility. Yes, and I would provide for them. They would not have to. I would never want my children to ever stress about ever having a hunger pain. You know what I'm saying? Like never being worried about being drugged on the streets and having to go from here to there. And that's the, you know, and that's something that, you know, there are parents out there that don't even realize that, you know, like when I was incarcerated, there were moms in there that, oh, well, you know, I told my kid I was at summer camp. I'm like, why would you lie? Why do that? Like your kid thinking, I mean, no. And then they get out and they want to go, and the next thing you know, they're back in, and where are their children at? They're with CPS. Think about, I mean, if you know you can't provide for your children, reach out to family. Reach out to someone that can help you. Don't put that child through that. Don't reach out to CPS. No, the CPS right now is not very, very credible, and they're not good for. I mean, everyone that I've heard that has reached out to CPS for help, it has turned on them, and ended up turning into a big investigation on themselves. I mean, and that's pretty bad. That when you reach out to a place like that to ask for help, and when you really need help and you are struggling, and they still, I mean, it's not like they had allegations or anything, but they take those what you reach out and ask for help about and take it and use it against you, and that's crazy just by you calling and asking and asking for help. Like around here, we got like Must Ministries and stuff. Those places like that are freaking awesome. They are great, and they will not, like, if you reach out to them if you're struggling, they will not. CPS will not have no involvement. Promise. Like, you can be. I mean, they're amazing group, and that's what I like about North Carolina. Did you see what's going on in North Carolina?
Yeah, someone. What happened? I saw something today, but fill me in.
They got them in furnished apartments now. Most of them people, but they're still they're getting there. But JD Vance and Trump, JD Vance, they had boots on the ground pretty much, and they were out there like he said he was, and he got him help. He's getting them help. Oh yeah, and it's look how quick that was. Like, I know, look from Biden to Trump, look how quick that was. Like, wow, that right like there made a big.
Like that couldn't handle. It couldn't be handled like that. You know, before already.
Yeah, what was the difference
with a swift stroke? Boom, we got stuff handled. You know, just like done.
Yeah, right. So why couldn't Biden do that? What was right. He was more worried about overseas and stuff. Like, we got our own country over here. We got our own people. You were president for us. Us people of the United States, not everywhere else, you know. Like, you got to look out for your people at the end of the day first, I would think, you know, instead of other countries. And that's not what he did. But Trump, boy, look, he went in and he made it happen. Like, you know, I was thinking about this. I looked up at this guy. I said, Carrie, I said, girl, if only you. I said, I hope you watching. I said, cause this is happening, girl. Cause that's what she was worried about, and you know, I was like, he's the boss. He's the boss. He's making it happen. She'd be tickled shitless right now. Yeah. God, I could just hear our phone conversations. I could just. Oh man.
Here's this is that Mr. Woolley's website here. He's talking about his family here. Let me see, where the heck is it here? Where are you here, Mr.?
So do you say he's like the first senator or the first, like, the political figure to actually address and bring it to the light about, like, since all this, like, the best, like, I'm not going to say, how am I saying this? Like, the one that stepped up and bringing attention to it? Like, is he
he's definitely making some noises, right?
Okay. So I was trying to get when I was asking, but I'm tongue tied for some reason. I don't know what the heck's up today.
This is a documentary about his brother. Let's see.
Oh, and that's him?
Oh, this is the actual video.
You are
that's
about to
not
watch
him.
Saving Clayton, a journey of courage and a continued fight for justice. It is a culmination of 18 months of investigative journalism, filming, and editing. The journey of the Woolley family. We believe it has allowed them to tell their side of the story and bring attention to their fight for justice. In a world where truth is often shrouded in shadows, Alavium stands as a beacon of light. Whether it's injustice or corruption, you will find us all over Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
We empower the voiceless and challenge the status quo. Support Alavium and become a part of the movement for truth. Together, let's illuminate Oklahoma.
Movement for truth. I like that.
Child Silence by Injustice, Movement for Truth, huh? Is that the name of the thing?
For truth. Yeah, Movement for Truth. Yep. I'm going to have to write that.
Go. Blow it out.
What did you...
Project 46.
Look at me.
So this is RescueClayton.com. This is the Woolley's family.
Okay. Red River.
Can't find you. So bright. Okay. Gotcha. Go. 1, 2, 3. Oh!
All I want to do is see my son. That's what I've been fighting for this whole time, is to see my son.
They totally kidnapped him out of our family, out of his whole support system, and put him in foster care. And they were accusing us of things that didn't happen.
I happen to have two parents who they walked everything out that they taught me, that they were able to instill in me values that have been the foundation of everything in my life. And I've always said that that's like the best gift I've ever received in my life, is the foundation that I had in my upbringing. Everything they did was from this just profound love that just constantly carried me through my childhood. And I knew that, like, no matter what I went through in my life, because of that foundation of their profound love, I would be okay, because I knew that I had this strength that was instilled in me from that.
If I had to highlight like 3 pillars of our upbringing from our parents,
there he is.
It would, I would say self-sustainability was a very huge part. My parents were always very resourceful and sort of self-made, especially my mom. Another pillar would be our faith. My parents
So his child
really
was
wanted
taken.
to be those individuals that
He was
modeled
the
the
uncle.
expectations that they had
So
for
Okay.
rather than just saying it.
Okay.
So they sort of modeled the same expectations that they wanted from us and modeled the same behavior that they had hope we would begin to take on. A third thing worth mentioning is that my parents were really big into instilling character qualities into us. They weren't too big into like the material possessions and the stuff like that. They would rather teach us how to make, create, or sustain something versus just handing it to us. We just didn't really have the money to just sort of buy and do things, so we had to be more resourceful in that way, but also they wanted us to learn to be problem solvers. My mother, especially being very resourceful, was a very self-made person, designed the house that we lived in for 10 years where we 3 kids grew up the majority of our childhood. My mom designed it, my dad built it from the ground up, and it was really sort of this dream that my mom had that my dad really helped bring to life, and they sort of navigated and worked together as a couple and as a family, and we really saw that example growing up too. They really used that property to be an ability to tie and model and host a sense of community for us as a family and for the church. So they would have church potlucks out there, or the youth group. They would host the youth group at the bonfire or an event. They really wanted it to be a place of fellowship. So it was our home, but it was a place for community as well. And that was just something I grew up with from a very young age.
So
Like
Desiree,
togetherness.
for a long time has struggled
Well,
with
this
substance
is
abuse,
this thing's an hour and a
that
half
all
long,
kind of
so
started when she was
you
14.
guys can check it out right here
Desiree,
at
Yeah.
Some of them were playing hide and seek in the dark.
rescueclayton.com. It's the
Yeah,
whole
'cause
documentary
that's
on it. It's good
yeah.
stuff, man.
And I could talk
Good.
about that on the next show I
Yeah, hell
do.
yeah. Hell yeah, you are. Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
I get on there rambling all the time.
Oh,
Hey, but I mean,
Jonathan Bird here is, hi, my husband and I have created a bill to hold CPS accountable for the crimes of kidnapping, court-napping, child trafficking. We are in Nevada taking the head off the snake. We have a petition, and it says their bill is called God's Children Are Not for Sale. Jonathan Burr, hell yeah. Why don't you guys get that to us? Email us at cpsvhuntingjustice@gmail.com. Get that to us, and we can help you guys pass that along for sure.
Heck yeah.
Where
I can't even see the chat. I don't know. Maybe it's
maybe you need new glasses.
But I know. Look, I know, right? I definitely. That's on the list.
Right.
That's on the list. So if anybody said hey to me, I'm sorry.
All of our guys' group, every one of them are using their damn phones for this stuff, and I'm like, get a bigger screen, use a laptop, something. We have to send them all laptops. We keep going the way we're going. We have to get everybody laptops.
Right. Because you got to see, like, that's on my podcast. That's what I'm on that screen, and I'm like, hey, what's up? You know, and I mean, I'm blind. I do need new glasses because I can't ever see the chat. Especially when you're looking at a little screen, it's like, hello, you know.
Yeah, you know, like I thought you were Vinny. You get there with the little eyes, little Chinese eyes. You're like, oh, I can't see that. I thought you were explaining some stuff.
Are they on right now?
You said you were looking at the screen. Vinny, how do you think that went? Vinny.
Vinny.
Where's
Yes,
Vinny?
sir.
Vinny.
What'd you think of the interview?
You guys did great. I think you did a great interview with him.
Good, good. What'd you think of what he had to say?
I think he needs to keep trucking on that bill and get it out there and get it so it's all 50 states and put it out to everyone and get that shit passed because these caseworkers do need to be held accountable for everything they've done.
They do need to be held accountable, but do you know the difference between preponderance and clear and convincing? That is such a huge difference in any of these cases.
Yes, it is.
I guarantee you that people wouldn't even have, most people's kids wouldn't even be gone if they had to be ruled by preponderance and not, clear and convincing.
And that
Well, yeah,
falls
because
into parents don't know their rights or
everything,
knowledge.
Right.
Everything that they're going off of is preponderance.
Right. Definitely. But do they have, I mean, and when they go to the courts, because I can tell you even in my case, they don't have clear and convincing evidence. They don't even have nothing hardly, but they're still being put, I mean, right. And they're still, they're trying to find information. I mean, I know I've faced several other parents where these caseworkers are calling us to see how to handle our children. That's messed up. Like, but you say I can't raise my kid. Like, apparently I'm doing something wrong parenting, but you have to call and ask me what I have. I mean, why'd you remove them then? Why'd you take them? Like, no. And they don't have nothing, but they try to pick for information and pick so they can build a case against you. That's messed up.
Yeah.
And that's where the judges should be held accountable. The judges, the judges need to be gone after because they're the ones that overlooking these cases, and even these directors or whatnot. And the judges need to start being held accountable because they're letting these cases just ride on right through.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the
only
TPR next.
Yep. What did you say, Vinny?
The only one thing that he should.
I can hear you.
Go ahead, Vinny. What you got to say?
I was going to say the only one thing that he should add to that bill is to increase the percentage of the scale in CPS cases because it has such a low bar when it comes to evidence.
And they need to broaden. They need, and the neglect under the neglect. They need to shorten. They need to define a clear definition of what they mean by neglect. What do you mean by neglect? Like what? Because it's so broad. I mean, poverty should not be a reason to take kids. The little bit of food missing out of the fridge should not be a reason to take children. A child being a little dirt, that should not be a reason. There's kids out there that are going through, that are in definitely in danger and being physically, mentally, emotionally abused that they're just not even worried about. Like,
I think it's lower than that here, Naylor. I think it's lower than 50%.
I don't even see the chat, y'all.
I love Naylor's.
Naylor's.
He reminds me of me, man. He's a stataholic, man. He's just like, bang.
And what had me was he was in the he's very knowledgeable and he's very knowledgeable and I can't see the chat, Chris. So hey, I'm glad you're here. I don't see what nobody's saying. But
Chris, I don't know what this Black's dictionary statement is preponderance amount is. I don't have my Black's book with me right now, but what does it say? The Black's dictionary say Black's Law Dictionary.
The Black's Law Dictionary.
Jonathan Burr and his wife. I know you said your name earlier, Miss Burr. I forgot your name. But if you guys can email us at CPSV Hunting Justice, just like it says on the scroll here, that would be awesome because I'd love to overlook what you guys have, and I'd love to send you what we have. And let's get this thing on track. Let's get these bills going nationwide because we got to do something about this stuff. Let's not talk about it. Let's be about it. You know,
because time is time. We've already been going through fighting with this under Biden, like his BS, and we've already had a lot of time, and they're gonna come up with something like the other. Yeah, and they're gonna make. I mean, for our governor down here in Georgia to automatically run, being homeless is not neglect. That's right. It's not. That's correct. It shouldn't be. They should be doing things to help fix that, to put people in homes. I mean, they got enough federal funding to make it happen. What's going on? I mean, there's families out there that they just maybe need a few minor fixes on their place. That's it, but they're gonna remove the kids. I mean, look at, huh?
Did you guys see what I posted in the chat last night? How the GAL on my case is a sitting vice president for the bar grievance complaint against GALs?
Yep.
And I filed a complaint on her a year ago, and it was denied.
Are you serious?
They did the same to me with the ADA. With that time, Mark she was sat on the board too. I mean, it's just bullshit, but whatever.
Ain't that like a bias thing right there? Big time. That's like bad. That's not good at all. Like
it's
that's
it's a conflict of interest because she's a sitting GAL on my case, and so is the AG, who happens to be a member of the same bar.
That's a joke. That's messed up. That's like
child
automatically setting you up for failure.
Yeah, look at this. A traveler child was taken for eating too much ice cream and sweets on his birthday. The mom sadly took her own life after the whole community fought for the family. Irish traveler family. Arjuna, thank you for that. But that's fucking terrible.
Clearwater. Wow.
These pieces of shit.
See how there was and there was a kid. Granted, the kid, he's still a child because he's under 18, but he was like, I think he's 13, 14, and all he was doing was riding his dirt bike or his motorized bike on the street up in Indiana. And this guy came by and literally put his hands on this kid, and CPS never got involved in that. Like, I mean, this guy, like, and they did, the community did, because the kid wouldn't even do, I mean, it's all over social media, and I seen that today, and I'm like, you got to be me. Like, this guy, and for what reason? Like, it wasn't even his kid, for one, but whether or not it was his kid, he has no reason to put his hands on him, but still, you hear nothing about, CPS or anybody him facing charges or anything, like, and that's out on social media, like how, and it is true, it happened. And this poor little boy, like, I mean, why can't he ride the street? Why can't he do what he wants to do? Like, it's just crazy. I'm alive. Sorry, y'all. Sorry.
Hey guys, listen up. We're out of time. We're out of time anyway, so you don't want to get you in trouble. We want to do some last thoughts. I know it's not the regular show, but let's do some last thoughts.
Keep fighting.
Or Danielle, you start them.
Mine as well. Keep fighting, and let's put it out there, y'all, because we're being hurt and things are changing, and we're making it happen. So keep speaking and get other parents. If you know someone, just share it out. Talk to everybody. I mean, the more that hear, the better. Like we have a pack is unstoppable. So pack it up, and let's get it going. Yep. Because even parents that aren't going through CPS, and even individuals that don't have children, are starting to listen. That's how real this is. Like and that's ones that definitely they are voicing themselves as well to back these parents. And oh yeah, I've noticed that too. So let's get it out there, guys. Bring these babies home.
Bring them home.
Yep. Vinny?
All right. I just want to just iterate, guys, please keep Gunner and his entire family in your prayers. Gunner is at the hospital. He texted me to let me know. His entire family's sick, even his wife.
Oh no.
So just keep them in your thoughts and prayers, and keep fighting. Don't give up. I got a long week this week, so it's going to be busy for me. Between my birthday and court twice this week. So,
yeah. What a week. Well, we're here for you, bud. So, we got you.
Sure, All right. I want to thank Gabe for coming on again. Make sure you guys check out Gabe Woolley. No, he didn't do GabeWoolley.com, but that's who he is on public media.
Gabe Woolley.
So,
Gabe Woolley.
Yeah. GABEWOO.
Okay.
I wanted to spell it here. LEY.
Got it. Okay.
If you guys don't have them, I have them, so I can get them out to you.
That's right. Make sure you check out his, his stuff, and then also make sure you check out rescueclayton.com. That's the story that he goes by that started his whole thing. So make sure you guys check that out and why he's doing what he's doing. But like, this is real, guys, and like Danielle says, we're getting our stuff out there. So keep sharing, doing what you guys got to do. We're getting bigger, better, and we got a whole brand new week coming. So everybody, appreciate everything you're doing for us. And I'm gonna say it like this: I'm the CPS Punisher, and we are out of here. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Be safe.
Let's go. The world getting crazy, baby, chill. Don't medicate, just meditate. You waking up now, well, baby, you hella late. Educate, look at what's going on, let it resonate, accelerate. Find your inner hunger like you never ate. Agenda is to push the hate. Separate and segregate, don't celebrate quite yet. The storm is coming, Q, for heaven's sake. Violence that they demonstrate, instigate and penetrate the values of our country. And our God is what they desecrate. My fighters ain't no featherweight, pulling out the seams of the fabric that they fabricate. They feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate through fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, and then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate. Marching on the streets of blood till I see the golden gates. Troubadour, troubled souls, one of God's servants. Blades out, cut the grass till we see the serpents.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show, it stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now.
I know the truth is hard to swallow, just digest it. Suspected something's going on, chosen just neglected, deflected by some breaking news. Oh, we just accept it, expected just to fall in line and follow their perspective. Don't question their objectives, but I got a lot of questions. How these kids molested, but nobody's been arrested. Read it in the testament, these children are protected. So I'm fighting all these terrorists, both foreign and domestic. Refuse to be directed, lying not a sheep. Only kneel to my God, so I'm dying on my feet. Silence when we speak, but there's violence in the street. I've been rolling with the punches, I can't take it on the cheap. Nah, drink from a glass half full, I'm optimistic. People are sadistic, so vicious and malicious. Praying for assistance to overcome opposition, or I'm gonna start resisting and then I pray for forgiveness.
Oh, one day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show, it stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now. We need you now. Oh, we need you puppet show, it stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now. Mm.